Hello guys, again it's lesson number 3, and today's lesson we're gonna cover up some DNS configuration, basic DNS configuration, and basic group policy management. So by default, if we type cmd and type nslookup, as you can see, this the server doesn't understand who we are and what he is doing on our localhost. Also, to fix that, first thing first, we need to go back to our network settings. I used to love doing this by running this command in the LAN run interface and cpa.cpl. So we click properties here, and after the role installation in IPv4, DNS server was changed. As you can see, we will put this server IP again here, and if you have IPv6 enabled as well, make sure you check this parameter as well. Okay, we fixed that, that's good. Now we need to configure some DNS to know who is our server, who is our main gateway, and so on. To do that, we click Tools and we click DNS Manager. Here is our DNS Manager. And this is our DNS main group. We have root hints, forward lookup zones, reverse lookup zones, trust points, conditional forwarders. So inside root hints, here are the most 13 root hint that commonly used worldwide, and we need to click on edit and resolve these names, each one separately. I already resolved it, as you can see it's green, but you will need to manually resolve every single one, every single root hint in this DNS manager role. So once you do that, we need to click on reverse lookup zone. Yeah. Sorry, 1 minute. Yeah. So reverse lookup zone is empty here right now. We need to click on that and click new zone. Next. We're gonna click to all domains running on melvin.com. Next, IPv4 address. And right here we need to put our network ID, which is, in my case, 192.168.2. So make sure not to put anything after that. So main network for me is 168.2. Next, here it tells us to allow only updates from the Active Directory. We need that. Next, and finish. So it created our zone. We need to go inside of it, and we're gonna see two records here. Let's click on the second record. As you can see, it don't know who is dc1melvin.com. IP address is unknown. So to fix that, first thing we need to click on edit and click on resolve. So if it resolves to our IP address, it means that we did everything correctly. So we click apply. Okay. And we need one more thing to do here, is to create a new pointer record. And we're gonna say that 192.168.2.128 is my dc1 melvin.com for the reverse lookup zones. Okay, yeah, now it's official done. Now we may change to DNS, and DNS needs to be restarted. We can do this by clicking on DNS, by clicking on our domain controller 1, all tasks, and click restart. Now DNS has been restarted, and if we did everything correctly, once we open our command line and type nslookup, as you can tell here, oops, sorry, I will make this screen a bit bigger. So as you can tell here, it found that my default server is tc1melvin.com with IP address of this. So if I type my IP address here, it should give me this name, which means that my DNS is working correctly. Also, let's check if it resolves other IP addresses. Yeah, as you can see, it resolves. So all good. Yeah, very good. DNS server configuration is done with it. Now, once we end our lesson, one more thing to do is to configure our group policy management. Here, if you click on Tools and go to Group Policy Management, you can see this menu here, and we have this forest, melvin.com. Inside this forest we have domains, melvin.com, and inside this domain we have default domain policy, and as I already told you, we have organizational unit which is visible here, and if it's visible here, it means that I can put any policy on this unit I want. So we have two policies here, default domain policy and default domain controllers policy. Right now I want to edit my default domain policy, so if I click on it and go to settings, it's gonna generate report and gonna give me this Internet Explorer message that I need to add this report to trusted website. So let's do this by clicking add, also add, and close. Now it's gonna give me the overview of what this policy is doing here. As you can see, this policy is defining some rules in my domain, and this is account policy. This is account lockout policy, some Kerberos policy, local policy, network access, and public key, some certificates which is not configured yet. So I want to change it. I want to change some settings. So I click anywhere and click edit. So inside, if you read here computer configuration, inside Windows, say policies and Windows settings, there is a security setting and account policies. Let's go here and let's follow up this thing. Then we have password policy. Now I want to talk about these settings, and let's change these settings. First one is enforce password history. So what does this mean? Now it's set on 24 months, which means that I have to put every month new password for 2 years. So like you can set, for example, 1 to 3 on another month. You have to set different password from that. So it's gonna continue straight to 24 months. Now I'm gonna tell you that 24 months is a bit long time, so I will make it half, 1 year only. Yeah, 12 months. So apply. Next one is maximum password age. This is that how many days password will last once it's required to change. So once month is 30 days almost, like I'm gonna say that it should last 30 days, and then domain should require user to change password. So click apply. Okay, so minimum password age is when user will be able to change its own password. I would like to set it 1 day earlier, so user should be able to change its password 1 day earlier until it expires. So I'm gonna set it as 29 days and click apply. Okay. Minimum password lengths. Now it's really depends on your organization and its like standards, but I would like to set 10 characters, so it won't let anyone use less than 10 characters in its passwords. So click apply. Password must meet complexity requirements. This means that it won't let me to set up easy password like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. It won't let me do it. It has to be, as you can see, some symbols, one uppercase, letters. For security reasons it's very good, but for user it's very hard to put this kind of passwords. So I suggest you don't disable these parameters and make users somehow remember their strong passwords. Then comes store passwords using reversible encryption. Now you can enable it, but what it's gonna do is just gonna encrypt the passwords. It's good for security reasons, but it has big load on our Active Directory. So yeah, it really depends on you and on your organizational standards, but I'm not gonna enable this option here right now. Okay, so we set up the default domain policy, password policy. Now we want to set up the account lockout policy. What is account lockout policy? Basically, if user enters the password for like 10 times, account should be locked, because there could be possibility that someone is hacking she or his account. Yeah, so we need to set account lockout duration. How many times account, like how many minutes account should be locked during if you enter the password incorrectly. I would say 15 minutes is enough. And as you can see, once I click apply, new window pops up and tells me that if I will define this policy, a new policy will be defined to these settings. I say okay. So new this to policy has been defined automatically, and what it is: account lockout result. This is how many logon attempts it would have until the account getting blocked for 15 minutes. Now it's set on 5, which means that I have to enter the incorrect password 5 times for my domain to lock my account. This is a bit much, so I would say 3 times is enough until user account will be locked out. So recent account lockout counter is how after some minutes account should be unlocked automatically. We're gonna set it as 15 minutes as well. So okay, here as well. And yeah, we did basic configuration of our group policy. We don't need to do anything else here. I'm just gonna refresh the report here for you to see that it has been changed as well in our domain. Now we can do GP update /force. We don't have any clients yet, but it will work as well. Basically what it does, it's just requests the new policy from server. So yeah, you can do this without waiting. So yeah, this is for today's lesson. We managed to configure DNS, we managed to configure a basic group policy, and next lesson we will configure some folder redirection rules and some roaming profiles for our users. See you guys in the next video.